Good evening, everyone. Today is my first recording in English, actually. I've made already about 10 programs in Russian, but I think it's time to expand. And yes, there are plenty of interesting people uh, throughout the country and the world. And one of them is in front of me right now. This is Sally Joyful. The name itself is very interesting. Is it your real name?
That is my real name. Yeah, my real last name.
Do you think it reflects your personality?
Yes, it does. It always reminds me to be happy and joyful too, even when I'm not.
So lots of people tell me that I'm such a world traveler, that I've been around, this and that. But I mean, there are quite a few people that outdid me in that department, and Sally is one of them. I met Sally in South Africa last year, early last year, and that was the start of her trip. After which I believe she went to Egypt and then Turkey, I believe, and then a bunch of European countries.
Yeah.
So, and that's in about how many months? 4 months? It's
It was about 2.5 to 3 months, and I think we did 16 countries.
pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about you. Is there do you have a home where you live?
I do not have a home, but I do have lots of friends where I stay. And right now I'm in Texas at a friend's house. I'll be here for maybe another week, and then I'm going to head up, do a road trip up to Ohio. And I'll see my family. My family's from Ohio, my mom, my daughter, and my two grandkids.
So I guess you are from Ohio yourself. You were born there.
Yeah, I was born there 61 years ago. I'm 61.
I remember you celebrated your 60th birthday in South Africa. Was a great place to celebrate such a milestone. But have you always been so nomadic, or it's if I may call it so, or it's in the recent years?
Um, it's been since 2019. I started traveling a little bit. Like I spent Christmas in Dubai and liked it a lot. COVID then came in 2020. Towards the end of COVID, I ended up in Hawaii. I had basically quit my job um, and went to Hawaii for the last 4 months of COVID before they opened. After that, spent a few months in Ohio, decided I was just going to sell everything and hit the road. And I did. I traveled all through the United States, and then I ended up in South America. Um,
Like, what motivated you to do that? You weren't happy with your life, or what's going on?
I had worked for 36 years.
Uh-huh.
And how long do you have to work before you can enjoy life? And I I just wanted I had always wanted to retire early and travel. My dad was a traveler, and he had told me to travel before your body lets out, can can no longer travel. And I mean, this guy my dad filled up a passport in 1 year, easy, back in the 90s and the 80s and 90s. Um, and I remember him traveling a lot, and slowly he just started slowing down, and to where it was just one trip a year, and he'd always be accompanying. I accompanied him a couple times to Germany, and and then he just stopped traveling all the way. He just couldn't do it anymore. Um, and actually, those were probably the last one of the last within 100 words that he said. He told me that, and he died 48 hours later, unexpectedly. So in honor of him, that's why I did the road trip in Ohio. In honor or road trip in the United States, I wanted to do all 50 states. He was proud that he had done 48 states. Um, he had not done Hawaii and Alaska. I had done Hawaii and Alaska, so those were easy. Um, and I literally just went on it was about a 9 month road trip, lived in my Honda Pilot, and visited all the states and people that I knew if they were in the States, and then and then I also, my son was in Brazil and he said come out to Brazil, so I bought a one-way ticket, and I thought I was just going to Brazil for 3 months, but I ended up in Peru, Ecuador, yeah, Peru and Ecuador. Went to the Amazon, went down the, did a little trek down the Amazon, and I was kind of hooked after that. And so I do like the United States. I like driving, and seeing all the states. But I also like going abroad a lot. So I kind of mix it up. And now I have moved up. I have a Toyota van, a Sienna. It's a hybrid, and I get better gas mileage. I got a new bed this week because I'm getting ready to go on the road here. And it's just so much easier to stay in the van than it is to get a hotel room every night, when I'm traveling. Plus, it's economical.
Sounds great. So you don't feel like you want to slow down, right? You
No, no, actually, I do have to force myself to slow down, and like rest and take breaks. And I will do that at a friend's house in Minnesota. And I have no plans for any zero travel in June and July, but I can guarantee you that won't last. I'll have a friend who will say, "Hey, I'm here, come visit," or "Do you want to go on a trip with me?" Because I am the only friend that a couple of my friends have that have a passport, doesn't have a job, and let's go. I don't even let's go have some fun. So I am extremely blessed to have the life that I have. But I worked for 36 years, invested in everything, and I wanted to be able to physically be able to climb the mountains, do the zip lining, keep up with the younger generation that I travel with sometimes. And I didn't, I wanted to snorkel with, in the Galapagos Islands. I just wanted to be able to experience it while I was healthy. I didn't want to wait till I was 70 and retire. And then you might have a few good years on you before the body starts doing crazy things.
what kind of work did you do before you retired?
Well, I was a jack of all trades. My job was I did private in-home care, and then when I was married, we had several businesses, and when I got a divorce, I basically cashed out of the marriage and sold everything except I kept about 10%, some sentimental things, and I thought I was going to travel the United States and find the perfect place to buy a house. But as I traveled, I realized the freedom that I had by not having a house. My biggest obstacle, which hasn't been too hard, but is to find somebody to keep my car for if I go abroad 5 months, 6 months. So usually I'll leave it at a friend's. They'll drive it here and there, and um, so far that's worked out real good.
All right. Well, when you have a car in the US, I guess that takes care of your needs. You sleep there, you keep your things there, right? So that is kind of understood. But what I was shocked when you traveled abroad, I saw you with this little carry-on, and you traveled for like 2 to 3 months. You still have that carry-on?
I do a carry-on, I do a backpack, and I am I the last time I went, well, last time I went to Europe to Spain, I did the Camino and I walked the 500 miles from France through Spain, and I literally just had two outfits, and I rotated those outfits every day, every other day. This past trip, yeah, I still have that carry-on. It, I'm having to change a little bit. This last trip I went to Buenos Aires and it was warm. Then we went down to Ushuaia and it was cold. So I've had to pack winter clothes with summer clothes. And I'm getting ready to do another trip at the end of the year where I'm literally going to have um, a lot of diversity in my travel to where I'm going to have good winter gear and then be ready for some warm weather. But I will literally wear all my clothes. I have been known to wear two pairs of pants, five pairs of my five shirts, um, and usually this is my bottom layer, and then I just go and yeah, I got Instagram warmer last time, and that saved me a couple times when we were in the mountains.
Well, it worked out for you. I mean, you can it works. I mean, so keep doing that. I remember like what really slows a person down is really the luggage. If you travel from one place to another, and I I remember once I was in Japan and I stored my luggage in those boxes that they have, and when I came back to pick it up, I opened the lug box and it was empty. And on one hand, I was like feeling kind of scared what happened, but on the other hand, I felt like relieved. I thought, okay, I don't have any luggage now. But it turned out that I simply put my luggage in another bin in a neighboring bin and just locked the empty bin. And well, thanks to the Japanese, like ethics, nobody took it, and they brought it into the office, and I just picked it up. So, but I find it very, uh, very simple to travel with little luggage. So, I mean, that's what I recommend everybody, and I can never understand why people take so much.
I think less is more. I am not about fashion. I will say though, this last trip, I put on my very best clothes, which for me they were my very best clothes, but were not acceptable for the restaurant we were going to. And then my friend gave me a dress to wear. And when I was in Switzerland, my friend, and keep in mind, I had just done the Camino, so I literally had one pair. I don't even think I had shorts. I know I didn't have shorts. I just had two pairs of pants, two tank tops, and one outer top. And she's like, "I have a bag of clothes here for you to go through, so you can wear something different when we go meet my friends." So, and I understand that, but I'm more about comfort and easy, and I wash my clothes in the sink sometimes every night. It just depends on what I'm doing, and I'm okay with it.
Great. So I just want to go back a little bit to the financial aspect, if you don't mind. So you said that you sold whatever you had, and I guess that's what you're supporting yourself with now. That's how you finance your trips.
I sold everything, and I invested the money. I had a friend help me do it. I just invested the money, and they asked, the financial advisor says, "What do you want to do?" And I says, "I just want to travel." And so they gave me a budget per month. Sometimes I go under, sometimes I go over, but it all averages out because I live pretty frugal. I stay in hostels, instead of spending $100 for a hotel room when I head up north. I just sleep in my car and I save that money. It costs me $50 to go 560 miles with the hybrid, so that does save money. And I live frugal so I can enjoy the traveling experiences.
Do you get credit cards that give you miles and then get free tickets?
Yes, I do.
That's what we travelers do. I mean, I just like I just want to tell people that it's not expensive.
No.
It's not crazy expensive. Obviously, you have to have money to travel, but it's affordable. You don't have to be. I'm not wealthy, and I can afford to travel. So it's really not prohibitive, and everybody can do it.
And it really helps if you have friends or something. When you're by yourself, you have to pay for everything. But I stay at hostels, and like for example, when I stayed in Thailand, I got the good room for $12 a night, American. And I was it was a great room. Um, we were just in Peru, and it was $370 for 7 days for three of us for a two-bedroom, two-bathroom, really nice apartment. So if you go to the South America, Asia, Indonesia, Middle Asia, those are really good countries where you can save money. Europe is going to be is expensive,
We'll,
but
we'll see what will happen to the dollar in the near future. It might be expensive, to travel anywhere. So we have to get in as much traveling as we can before that happens. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, but we're not gonna getting into politics. We'll talk just about travel. And now let's maybe discuss places. Like maybe you could just mention a couple of places that really blew your mind, that are very memorable, that you would tell people it's a must to visit before we go to a specific trip which you would like to share.
One of the musts that I believed a lot of people that going to the Galapagos Islands was expensive. If you do it frugally, I actually just took a backpack there for 17 days. I was on a three different yachts, 17 days on the water, 3 weeks in the area. When I stayed on the island, it was $35 a day. That was my hostel and that was my food. Um, and you literally can just go down to the dock and the wildlife will come to you. Um, so what I did there was I took American money with me. No one ever knows how much you're carrying unless you tell them or flash your cash. And I walked into the tourist office and I said, "Hey, I'm a single traveler. I have flexibility on when I can go. Do you have any openings?" Now, some wanted to charge me for one and a half persons because I'm by myself. It's called a solo fee. You get charged for but
Right.
they charge you for traveling alone. And I would just say, No, thank you. And then, but have a good day. And then I'd walk out. They need to fill the bed, or some of those places they want to fill the bed. I don't eat for a person and a half. Um, the bed is going to be used whether it's one or two people. So I struggle with that paying the solo fee. Um, I struggle hard with that. And anyways, I was able to score three different cruises in the Galapagos Islands. I did 3 weeks in the Galapagos Islands for under 5 grand. And that's with my airfare. That was with everything. Um, and so I was really proud of that. It seems like a lot of money, but if you price out a 7 day yacht, which is it's the only kind of boat really to get to all the small islands to be able to snorkel with all the animals. It's 5 grand a week, but I was able to do it for under five for 3 weeks and had a great time. Um,
Yeah, I also went to Galapagos. I went to with Exotica. Actually, that's where we met on Exotica trip to South Africa. And actually, Exotica trip to South Africa for me, I don't think was such great value because unfortunately, I didn't. You took a more extensive trip and you added on Victoria Falls and everything like that. But the Galapagos trip was really wasn't, maybe if you calculate it, not as frugal as yours, but it wasn't just Galapagos, it was Ecuador, different
oh,
places in Ecuador plus Galapagos. Galapagos was 4 days and the whole thing was 10 days. And including the airfare and everything, like all inclusive, basically was $1,800. So I think it was
okay.
not bad, not a bad trip. I usually don't do it. With tours. South Africa basically because it was that far and I didn't, like I thought maybe for safety reasons. But now if I ever go to South Africa again, I think I'll go on my own. I won't go with I mean, I'll take tours in there, but I won't
Yeah,
get the package from the US. But the Ecuador one I really enjoyed and was, I saved some money and was, I would agree that Galapagos, I didn't do as much as you did. I didn't do snorkeling. I personally just not my thing, but I really enjoyed it and I would
yeah.
recommend that place to everyone.
It it's like walking into a National Geographic with all the animals and stuff.
Seals mostly, I think.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and there's nothing better than kayaking and then sea lions go, they play with the kayak, they go under it, they go beside you and everything.
And the
Um,
turtles of the Galapagos, it's the turtles, the giant turtles.
yeah, and the iguanas.
Oh,
The
right.
iguanas were cool there. Yeah. But and the birds, it was a magical trip there and the water's just crystal clear. 3 weeks was good for me there. I did like Ecuador too. I did a lot of tours there. The reason I got a tour for South Africa is people told me how dangerous it was,
Yeah, that
and
was
that I
also one of the reasons why I did it that way.
yes, but I beg to differ. I never felt I literally, but if I went with my friend Bob, um, we could have gone and not have done the tour. But had I, when I started out, I was going to go by myself, and then he's like, "Oh, I'll go with you," and so that's how we ended up going together and doing the tour. But um, I I normally that was the first tour I had ever done, and normally I don't feel in danger wherever I go. And I stayed in Brazil and Rio de Janeiro, and I've worked in the favelas there or volunteered in the favelas there. I just, I stay to myself, and I never flash my cash. I don't go to the bars, so
Cape Town was pretty safe, although like they changed the hotel on us, and that's a problem when you take packages because they advertise some hotel by the sea, but they gave us a hotel in downtown.
mhm.
But it was still rather safe. I mean, I don't know how familiar you're with New York, but I maybe you would agree with me if you are familiar that I'm yet to find a place as dangerous as New York, as unpleasant as New York, I should tell you, because I've been to Guatemala City, I've been, to places that are generally not considered safe, and I felt more comfortable there. I had less people, coming up to me, or sometimes no people coming to me asking for money or saying something crazy than I on daily basis face in New York City.
Now I like New York. I took my grandkids there for the Macy's Day Parade.
No, I'm not saying New York. New
Oh,
York is definitely a great city to visit. It has a lot, but in terms of like quality of life,
oh,
you face the beggars, the homeless, the deranged people. I mean, you just get used to it. It doesn't bother you as much. I mean, unless they really become violent or something like that. But yeah, but compared to other cities, I mean, I find, even Latin American cities, I mean, obviously haven't gone to dangerous neighborhoods. I usually stay in tourist areas, but I yet to find a dangerous city on my trip.
yeah, same. I've had wonderful experiences. Even when I left my coin purse that had some fair amount of cash in it in my jacket in the Athens airport, actually had an Apple tag on it. And now keep in mind, I had traveled to over 40 countries and have never left anything. So and one of the things that helps me is I'm repetitive. My passport always goes in this pocket. My wallet goes in this pocket. The extra money goes here. That morning, for whatever reason, I put it in my inner coat pocket and I didn't put it in my backpack. And I don't I must have left my jacket sit somewhere, which actually had all my cash and everything in it. Um, but I had an Apple tag, and once I traveled about 2 more weeks, and then I realized I wasn't and then I just got a ticket from Italy, flew back, got my jacket, and my stuff, and everything was there. Nobody messed with the money, nobody messed with anything, and I was very fortunate to have an Apple tag on there. But you know, um, but theft does happen um, to
Yeah.
people, and I've been with people they've left their phone someplace, and then when they go back, it's gone. But you know, I try to wear clothes that have pockets and stuff on it,
Sometimes it
and
happens to people who take a lot of precautions. I should say it, but that by nature, I'm not such a precautious person. I am very like careless generally, you know. But thank God I'm not tempting fate, so to speak. I hope it won't happen, but thank God, so far nothing has happened. But Sally,
Yep.
we could talk about traveling for so long. But we just have a bit more than 10 minutes left, actually.
Oh,
And yeah, I mean, we'll see what the reaction will be. Maybe we'll meet again, you'll show more, but at least so you could show a little bit of your last trip, right? Could you
yeah.
tell us where you went and how long it was and what you visited?
I went to Buenos Aires, and actually, this trip here, I changed it up a little bit. I met my son and his girlfriend, and I had traveled with them about a year previously in Thailand, um, and so they wanted me to join them in Buenos Aires, and we went to Uruguay, and I enjoyed Argentina. We went to El Cafitat, El
El
Ca
Calafate.
yeah, and
The,
then El Chatin.
right.
That is my worst thing is pronouncing the towns, and Patagonia, and we seen Mount Fitzroy and did a lot of hiking there, and went to Santiago, Chile. The best thing though was Easter Island.
Well, I didn't
Um,
do that. That I didn't do. That I thought was expensive and far, but yeah, you did.
well, here's how I looked at that. I may never get back here. It was a $500 round trip ticket for me, and we shared the Airbnb by three. That's a big that is a big plus, and the car. We rented a car, and if you divide that by three, that helped all of us out because we're all budget travelers and they're digital nomads. So that really helped everybody out. Uh, and we went to Chile. Valparaiso, Chile is a really good city. It's all full of art and murals. I actually highly recommend that.
Yeah.
Um, but I enjoyed San uh, Pedro. That was a desert. I actually celebrated my 61st birthday there. Um, Lima, Peru was magical. I had been to Peru before, but not Lima. We were literally so busy visiting people. Lima, Peru must be a place where a lot of digital nomads go because the first week we were there, I visited my a former roommate from when I stayed in Hawaii. It was just magical. Every day we were seeing somebody, but the best was I met a gentleman who met me when I was 18. He was a business partner with my dad, and my dad has since passed, but he has kept in touch with my mom. So I got to reminisce about my dad with this older gentleman. So in Lima, Peru, we
You
actually
met
like
him accidentally or you arranged the meeting?
my mom
Yeah.
gave me his contact information, and he wanted to meet Myron, see Myron's daughter again, and lots of great memories, with him and with my dad and stuff. So that was very nice. Lima, Peru is kind of an interesting town. They got the cliffs and their roads. There is nothing easy about the roads there, but beautiful country. I did Colombia, Medellin, Colombia by myself. The kids, I parted ways with my son and his girlfriend, and then I went to Colombia. Medellin was a really nice town, and did some tourist things there. And I stay at hostels when I'm by myself, or um, and then I had read on the internet. I do a lot of beach combing and collecting things, so I had read that Aruba had a glass island there, and the island was just nothing but sea glass. And I heard that it was true. I heard it wasn't true. And then Google flights. I went to Google flights and just kind of how much does that cost to get me from Colombia to Aruba? It was like an $80 flight. So I could not resist not going there. And there really is such a thing as a glass island where it's nothing but beach glass that has been worn down by the sand and the sea and the water over time. It was actually a trash dump, and you find all kinds of interesting stuff there. Met a lady from who liked it so much. She was from Pennsylvania and she moved there. So if I can ever hop over there on a cheap airlines ticket, I'll definitely go back to Aruba to do some more beach combing because I brought home some really good
Uh,
things,
let's
treasures.
have pictures speak for themselves, and we have about 5 minutes. So whatever you get to share, we'll be glad to
I got
see.
a lot of pictures here.
How long did this whole trip take that you've just described?
Ooh, I left at January 7th. Where are my pictures? Hold on. Share. Only the host can share in this meeting. It says only the host can share in this meeting.
Oh, sorry, that's on my part. Let me fix it. Uh, I fixed it yesterday when we talked, but today, okay,
I
can
was
I,
going about maybe 10 weeks,
10 weeks.
2.5 months. Um,
Okay, now you can share.
okay.
Yeah, I've done a similar trip to yours. I just did Argentina, so Patagonia, and then Atacama Desert, and I finished at São Paulo, Brazil, for a couple of days, and that was a bit more than 3 weeks. 'Cause I like this kind of fast-paced travel, and I would travel much more relaxed. But I mean, I'm still working, so I had a limit. Had to go back to work.
Well, I traveled with my son and his daughter, and they're both digital nomads. So it looks like we did a lot, but there was also a lot of downtime, which I liked. Um, here, how do I get to show them?
Oh,
I
you do.
guess.
I think right now you're not sharing, so if you could try to share again. Oh, now you are. Oh,
Oh,
yeah. That's
are
your
you seeing
son.
all of them
I
or
guess.
just one of them?
I'm seeing one picture. I'm
Okay.
seeing your son, and I mean, I'm
My
seeing
son.
whatever you're seeing on your screen, I guess. I don't know what you're seeing.
Oh,
Oh, you're looking at your pictures, I guess. But
yeah.
yeah, I'm seeing your son,
Okay.
yourself, I guess maybe your daughter-in-law.
My son, yeah, my son's girlfriend. But this is a special picture. This is Yoshi. We were roommates in Hawaii in a big house in Hawaii. There, I had a couple other roommates. But Yoshi, I see in a different country once a year, and this year it was in Argentina. I love the artwork, and I'm going to go kind of quickly because I know we're
Yeah.
limited.
Yeah.
Love the artwork. Always find wings to get my picture taken.
That's
Did
that's in
did it?
in Buenos Aires right now.
Yep, yep. Yeah, and did went to the cemetery. The cemetery was very memorable
The
because
Recoleta Cemetery. Yeah.
yeah, I ran into a girl who had Sally Was Here shirt on, which I thought was her name wasn't even Sally. And then we kept walking and going through the cemetery and we found skeletons
That's
and bones
amazing.
in the cell. Yeah, so that was really cool. My son and I did a who made the cheapest, best empanadas one day. So they're under $1. You can't
Yeah.
beat that. Here is a lady. We're actually going to. This one was Uruguay, and the lady I'm sitting with is actually from Ohio. And then there's me beachcombing. I do a lot of beachcombing. Sunsets are really special in every country. Um, that was the beach glass that I picked up in Uruguay. That got to stay in Argentina. They wouldn't let me bring it. We checked out a coffee shop that made these like 3D coffee things. That was a fun experience. And then as we're leaving to go to Chile, the the pilot, never seen this before, but the pilot is leaning out the window talking to the crew on the ground. I didn't even know that you could do that. So I, and then when we're in Chile, we went to this restaurant that had no room for anybody. And then the people that were sitting there, they said, "Hey, come join us." So it just so happened one of them was from Germany, and I don't remember where the other couple was from. But the best part about travel is you meet people from all over the country, and most of the people. Oh yeah, the beef in Argentina was actually spectacular. But you meet people and you get to know them, and sometimes you're just friends forever. I always find hearts wherever I go. And then there's dogs everywhere. That dog wanted his stomach rubbed. More artwork. That was actually a little garden we stumbled upon. This
Sally,
here,
I am sorry to cut you off because we have less than a minute.
okay,
I'm limited by Zoom, so if you could stop sharing,
yep,
and I'll just like to say that I really enjoyed talking to you, and hopefully um, we can reconnect, and you could show more. You could share much more.
yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm honored, and thanks for thinking of me. It's great seeing you.
All right, great. Thank you again.